representing Franchise Secrets, Eric Von Horn.
Hey listeners, if you're not in the Franchise Secrets Facebook group, what are you waiting for? It's franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. Now, this is a large community of franchisees, franchisors, buyers, sellers, anybody that's involved in franchising in any way. It's the community to go to, ask your questions, get answers, help people out, and get help. It's franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. Welcome to the Franchise Secrets podcast with your host, Eric Van Horn. Today's special guest is Phillip Chang, founder of Yogurtland. Most of you have heard of Yogurtland before. I met Phillip many years ago, and so this is kind of a fun reunion, getting to see each other again. And man, he's been up to some really cool things. He's created a whole brand new extension onto Yogurtland called Wholesome, Holsom. It's a really big thing for the Yogurtland franchisees, and he's created a brand new franchise called Egg and Bird. So Phillip's one of these guys who I have the utmost respect for as a person, as a family man, and just who he is. And so I have a ton of respect for him in the business world as well, in what he's created in the franchise world. So Phillip, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's good to have you on. So you're most well known for Yogurtland, and I know that you've created this new thing called Wholesome. I'd love you just to kind of, give a little bit of the Yogurtland story, and then maybe some of the things that, the challenges that you face that probably birthed the extension of Wholesome.
Yeah. We tried this already maybe over a year now, and it's an extension of our Yogurtland menu. So current Yogurtland we just have just one item, which is just frozen yogurt, and that's pretty much it. And of course, so far we had such a huge love from our customers. They first thing I hear from them is, I love Yogurtland. I mean, I really appreciate how our customers rave about us, and such a huge supporting. And sometimes they would like to have something more than just frozen yogurt, like maybe some coffee, some drink, or they bring their kids, but they like to have some simple munchie or something to eat light. And there was quite a request, and since we have such a great R&D team, we developed an amazing menu, and so which is some healthy toast, and because we want to stay in healthy area, and some bowls like a acai bowl and some grain bowls. So if they want to go a little heavier food and want to have a really good quality meal, and there's a grain bowl, so we can provide that. And that so far is such a great response, and people love our concept. And it helps us a lot. It's a good expansion, and I feel like we are kind of maybe innovation company. Not just that we're not going to just stay as just Yogurtland, because so far what we have done, it was an amazing product we made, and the people, our customers really love us and how we rolled to new menus.
Was a lot of this coming from franchisees kind of asking you, saying, here's what we're hearing from our customers? Are you proactively asking franchisees, like, what should we be doing next? And there's always that balance of doing something really well, like yogurt, and then adding another really big thing. So was there ever a challenge that you were thinking, man, this might be too much, kind of getting into spreading ourselves thin, or doing, going into an area that that we're not really known for?
Yeah, they're always our franchisee asking for something new, developing, not to stay status quo, and right. And there's actually a huge part of our franchisees. They love Yogurtland as it is. They don't ever want to change even one menu. I mean, that much. I take that as such a great compliment, and they love what it is right now. But I believe it always the history changes. People's demand changes, their focus change. So I have to honor what we have, but we have to also grow and progress. So we always want to grow. And what can we help? At the end, it's a really matter of how can I help our franchisee? Then staying as with what our menu, or convert ourselves, transform ourselves. And I believe, change is you cannot avoid that. You have to survive. And so to add sales, I believe have progress to something new is really important. So there's a quite of resistance from franchisees. I understand because they love what as it is and what we have. But I believe at the end, really, we want to provide good ROI to our franchisee. So that we have all same goal. So and I believe adding new items here will really boost our sales. And it will be a long process because we are getting out of this comfort zone of what we have. People love this, but I'm typical those the entrepreneur that I want always new things, something new. We have to evolve and make create something. So take a risk and move on. I mean, that's me, and I believe so far it's a great response. So.
Hey franchisees, I created a mastermind just for you. I did it kind of selfishly. I wanted to be around more like-minded franchisees like myself who want to grow and accelerate my brand. And so I created a mastermind. It's a community of franchisees across different brands, different industries, different strengths, but all with the mentality that we're here to help each other get better as a franchisee, grow as a franchisee, increase revenue, increase net profits, and be in a community that is unlike any other. Check out franchisesecrets.com/mastermind. Well, I have a couple more questions around Wholesome, and then I want to get into Egg and Bird being a successful franchisor and then transitioning or adding a new brand. I want to understand a little bit more about that, see how that brand's going, and I really want to dive into that. But so, what have you seen going back to Yogurtland? What have you seen from our average unit volumes increasing because of this? And is it taken away? Do you think there are more people that are choosing that healthier option or that other option versus that would normally get yogurt? Like what has been the customer response?
Yeah, there's a mixed response. One, there's people see our menu when they try it, they're really amazed the quality of our product, but at the same time we're providing value. So there is they really enjoy our menu. And so that part, there's a good increase of the revenue, but also same time we're kind of losing some yogurt side because some of them they're kind of confused of what we have because this is a shock for those old the traditional way of we're doing so far. And we're changing it. So some customers see, what's Wholesome? And then they're confused. And then, of course, there's sometimes some of them a menu reduction because of the space wise. We used to carry 16 flavors. So we have to squeeze it. So lesser flavors because, all of our flavors are all evenly popular. So sometimes customer disappointed of some of their favorite flavors are gone. And so we have some challenge. So one is the brand confusion. So we have to educate. So I know it will take some time, but at the end, what we provide, there's such a good quality and a value provided, and it is aligned. Once they try it, then they love it. It's same thing as when we started Yogurtland. That was it. We tried to market, advertise it just very first time. Please try once. That's it. I'm sure they will come back. So that's pretty much it. And this is how the same things are happening here. And because they don't know what it is, but we're trying to promote it, and once they understand, they come back. So always when brand to try to transform, there's a quite time takes. So because it's already over 15 years. We started 2006.
Yeah, you were one of the originals.
Yeah, we're the very first one.
You are the original.
Right, very, very first one, and we built. So over 15 years. Yeah.
When you were thinking about doing more acai bowls and thinking about Wholesome, did you think about just rolling out a second brand that was only acai bowls?
We were trying to a few different things because there were quite a testing happen. From customer point of view, maybe they don't really realize, but for us, there are lots of different items. We were trying this way, that way, all different positioning. Where should we have that just totally under Yogurtland, or just change the name to totally change to like a brand new concept? So there are lots of different directions we were try to measure our customers' response. So still there's the progress, still going on. So some locations we're doing really good, and some we still need education. We have to teach our customer, who we are.
Well, there's one thing for sure. You're not going to make everybody happy. You're not, that's what we know for sure. So that's it's going to be interesting because I know brands right now, brands have to evolve. We've just come through COVID. We're probably going into another season of COVID, and you evolve or die. And that's just how it is. And so, and then the customers' habits change. And that's why, if you had to sum it up, what is it that caused this? Was it customer habits changing? Is it new things like ICE bowls coming onto the scene? Is it yogurt just not being as popular as it once was? Probably in 5 or 10 years, it will become even more popular than it used to be. Like, in your mind, what was it that changed that caused you to have Wholesome come be a part of Yogurtland Brands?
Well, before even there's all this, different factors, and I believe in we have to evolve. But that one, that's me as a immigrant, first generation coming in here, and we have to survive. It was really about the survival in America. So we always try to change it, improve it all the time. And we've been trying to improve and evolve, maybe go back even 10 years back. So there's lots of items we have tried. And it just happened to be, I understood that there's a cycle of people consumption, per capita. There's a cycle. So I have a good understanding what will come after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and also will come back again. So how do we go through those down cycle, and how do we maintain our business and then ready for that next up cycle? So we have to be ready. And so that's what we were preparing ahead of time. But just lately, it just happened, and pandemic happened, and all these self-serve concept restaurants pretty much all dead, because we're not allowed to a customer touch anything, right? So maybe we are one of the biggest, the victim of this COVID, and there's maybe a buffet. All the buffet has a really hard time. I think many of them shut down, unfortunately. I think, because of our brand strengths, helped us to survive this. And also, fortunately, we were preparing all these new things before. So it goes back maybe just exactly as Wholesome menu. It was 2.5 years back. So we were doing that. So way before pandemic and way before all this, customer behavior change. And so it wasn't reactive response to something happen. We always measure ahead time what is coming and try to be proactive. And, most of all, we have to evolve. We got to do something new and test it. So it's a long-term investment.
I love it. Why don't we transition now into the brand that you just started? But as we transition, I'd love to know a little bit more about your story on, because you mentioned how you immigrated and that part of that was, you've got to innovate. You've got to be ready for this kind of stuff. So give us a little bit more of the backstory, and then I want to transition into the new brand.
Yeah. That's my background. I came here when I was 21. I couldn't speak any English, and there's of course big culture shock because I never been out of country before, and of course, my family, the financial background, of course, really challenging that time. So I have to be responsible for our family, all that. So very challenging time. But sometimes that gave us that competitive edge. All the time, I'm on the toe, always be ready for something, and then I'm the last person at the line. So if I fall, all gone. I mean that's my mentality. Yeah. So it's like I'm in a war with behind the river behind. Okay. So either I go forward, and that's the only option I have. So that's my mentality. And of course, there's a more important value principle in my life, which is why I do this business. There is very firm definition of why I do business. So that sharing love, joy, and hope is most important. So I never ever want to violate that principle to make better money. So with that, when we have this franchise business, it's a partnership. Our franchisee, their profit will come to me eventually, because it's a true partnership. We gotta make it together. So that's the mindset of how I focus on return on investment. That's really, especially that bottom line is the most important part, because that's what franchisee getting, not the top part, right? So and then that. So there is quite a pressure also because of that. So we have to always make something new, and that causes us come up with new idea all the time. And also this egg and bird chicken sandwich concept came up, and luckily that's also our team's such a amazing R&D skill. We can develop something new faster than anybody else, and then the best execution. And at the end, it's really, we can build amazing ROI model.
So tell me about that, because I love the name Egg and Bird. I believe you have one store open. I'm guessing, I'd love you to confirm, you started that as a test store, your own. Maybe you bought it out from somebody like some brands do, but you probably started out on your own as a test store. Give us some insight into the evolution of that store from idea to opening it up to where we are today.
Okay. So it is totally brand new. We didn't buy out any. So it was from scratch. We just had a vision of what's next coming. Something we were at Yogurtland is for dessert, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to grow out of that. So we're introducing some bowls, grain bowls, toast stuff, but that is not really that fulfilling meal that some customer wants. And usually the check average for food is much higher. Of course, for the size, the rentable size, and the revenue is, of course, ticket price is much higher. So I know that. So we want to tap into that area. So and we saw chicken, sandwiches in the future, and then also my background. I came from Korea, and Korea, KFC, Korean, fried chicken, right? so that's my background. So I understand, chicken, and so we have a very unique, a very high profile, chicken quality, fried chicken sandwich we can create. So we made it, and then we tested, and we opened, one off store. Location is not that good, but we believe it is all about ROI. So we look at the number and then see and open the store, and we hit the market. We're blowing off like a Yogurtland again.
Well, let's pause there, because I think what you just said is really important. When people, I've seen franchisors do this the wrong way. I've been consulting franchisors recently, helping them with their brand, helping them with franchise development. And one of the things that you just said is you didn't probably get the most expensive, glamorous location. You probably didn't build it out with the most expensive tile and the most expensive of everything. You were looking for ROI. And a lot of franchisees, all franchisees are looking for ROI. So I love it that you said that, because some franchisors will build the store, the facility that looks the best and in the highest profile area that doesn't really represent average America. So it's really hard for franchisees when they're starting to buy something. They look at the franchisor's really high numbers, but they're not looking at the franchisor's bottom line on a particular location. So I like the fact that you probably didn't have the best of the best location, but you were looking for ROI. So can you give me some of your thoughts as a franchisor opening up that new location, and the type of location that you picked out and why you picked that one out?
Yeah, sure. This is from my, the very beginning, the philosophy of what I believe in. So, which is, I mentioned about love, joy, and hope. But we want to share that, right? Then we really have to provide our franchisee something real. It's not just for that marketing tool that, hey, we have such a fancy model. And so of course, for typical franchisors, they want to promote the brand's image and a feeling that people just love how it looks. But at the end, what's most important is how much really our franchisee take home. I mean, that's the most important part. So instead of focusing on this marketing, branding of us that we can sell much more in the future, I would rather focus on how can I build real, best ROI model through this store, so that we can share the number with our franchisee and look, with this kind of location, this kind of investment, and this is what you're getting. So the real getting, it's not about how we promote ourselves and putting more money toward the marketing rather than just focusing on product development and sourcing and a better product, and so that we can have a better ROI. So I think that's the different route we're taking, rather than the fancy, amazing location, and we can bring more franchisee in. Rather than that, I'd like to have a just average location, typical location, but there is such a great ROI. And then, of course, from there, we are going to have, we can prove it's worth to invest in here. And then, of course, franchisees, they will love it. And then we'll have more franchise. And then we are going to start to promote brand after that. We are going to shape up, the way our look, little by little. So that's always I believe in. That's how Yogurtland started. We didn't start as like such a fancy a location only and top image and all that. No, actually our initial investment is very, very low. And so here actually this one is extremely low. We made it so that at the end it's really that for that investment there's such a return ratio is amazing. So that's how we approach.
Well, you are at the point where a lot of people listening, you're not an emerging brand yet because you don't have any. I mean, you are an emerging brand, but you're an emerging brand with no franchisees yet. And to become a franchise or like a good franchisor, you need to have franchisees. And so I think this is an interesting place to have a conversation around how do you get franchisees? How do you plan to grow? Because it's going to be helpful for people investigating franchises because they always wonder, should I get involved with a new brand? Should I get involved in an existing brand? And you have an existing brand that's well known, and then you have a brand new brand, so you can kind of speak to both. And then franchisors out there, Phillip, I talk to franchisors weekly that have emerging brands that want to grow their brands. And what I typically do is just give them some free help. And then if they want some consulting, then I go on to give them some consulting services to help them understand how to take a brand from very few franchisees to grow it with the right franchisees and do it in a way that doesn't suck the life out of the owner, because owners and founders typically start selling franchises to begin with. And they've never done it before, and it really is. It's difficult. It's not the highest and best use of their time, or they're not doing the highest and best activities within franchise development or selling franchises that they should be doing. So, from your perspective, how are you looking at growing this brand and maybe doing some things the same or differently than you did with Yogurtland?
Probably we'll do pretty much the same way we did with Yogurtland before. So, which is we're very focused on developing good ROI model. I mean, that was like pretty much 90% focus there. And we didn't have any franchise sales activity maybe for over 10 years. Yeah. So you can tell I'm not a sales guy. Mm-hmm. We want to show what we have, and then people understand, they will join. So it's a natural respond from franchisee that, oh, I want to have that franchise. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Because we don't want to promise or maybe try to sell something it's not really worth. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's not me. So I'd rather not do business, because when I put my philosophy of love, joy, and hope, and I am violating that very first rule of my philosophy. So I have to provide something right for franchisee. Then I have to build a right brand first. So, and I'm that much confident, because usually those who are not much confident, they're trying to promote themselves. They're so focused on PR because they don't have the inner strength, inner confidence. But when we have that inner confidence of this product as such a good product, then I don't have to spend so much time to sell this. That's my belief. Probably, promoting, it will help for our franchise selection quality, it will help that, because rather than 10 or 100 franchisee interested, if I can have a 1,000 franchisee interested, then of course I can be very selective with the best franchise. Actually, that's what I am looking for right now. And I don't have to, because, growing, forced growing, I don't say that that's the ideal way. So we have to be done naturally. So when we have built such a great model, because that's what we have right now, such a great model, and we can be very selective, because this is anyone who see our number model, then anyone would jump in and they want to put money on. So I'm very confident. So that's what we want to be.
With restaurants, it's interesting because customers come in and customers can become a franchisee. They see it, they taste it, they like it. Different than some other brands out there, especially service brands, low profile service-based brands. It's harder for them to grow because they don't have an experience that the customers have. They just get a service done. It's a need-based thing, not a want-based thing. But when you have a want-based experiential brand like what you have with both of them, the customers leave. And especially when you're in a highly populated area like LA, you'll have different people visit, you say franchise opportunities, and that's organically how, brands such as yours will grow. So I'm sure that's part of the strategy. But who do you think is going to be the typical franchisee with your new brand, Egg and Bird? I call it the avatar, the franchisee avatar. I help franchisors build avatars, because a lot of franchise brands don't even know who they're targeting, and there should be an avatar, a persona that they're going after. So who do you think is going to be that typical Egg and Bird franchisee?
Yeah, maybe this is the one area that we do a little different than Yogurtland. Before, Yogurtland was more of who has really heart and enthusiasm. I mean, that's the most important part, and we're shooting for those. So we have a lots of franchise. Many franchises has 1 or 2 stores, and now we want to work with more savvy business person. So which means we have an ambition of growing at the end. And so we want to have a same mindset. Some franchisees who is not just happy with just one store. I'm good all here, and there's no improvement and no change. I'd rather work with the people in the company. They have a big ambition. Let's grow it, but we have to be aligned. So we're not just chasing money. There's a much higher goal we want to achieve. So when we want to do good work, something, help our community, help people around, we want to do it together, that too. So it's not just only working as a profit, organization that we just make money and that's it. But we want to build something bigger than that. So somebody has that mindset and then grow together. So we'll be more bigger scale we'd like to build, not just 1 or 2 stores.
So you're looking for somebody that has the financial capability of doing multi-units, and then also has the drive to do multi-units. And for anyone listening, if you're a franchisor thinking about growing, whether you do it kind of organically with singles or doubles, like Phillip did with Yogurtland, and now he's thinking about what the goal is to do it with multi-unit franchisees. Here's the reason why. Because as a franchisor in retail, meaning the franchisees are going to be opening up in a retail shop, their first one's the most difficult one to get open. That's the most challenging work for the franchisor to get the franchisee open on number 1. Number 2 is probably the most difficult for the franchisee, because they are now taking staff from store number 1, spreading them over 2 stores, and it's a challenge, but in many ways it's easier, but it's difficult because there's probably a drop in number 1's performance, and maybe number 2 doesn't open up as strong, but then number 3 opens up. Now they can hire staff with economies of scale that they can oversee multiple locations. And this is when things get really interesting for multi-unit franchisees. And on number 3, Phillip and the team over at Egg and Bird are really not going to have to do a whole lot of work, because this is their 3rd time as a franchisee opening up that location. And then they go on to open up number 5 and 6 and 10 and 12. And they are getting very little help from Phillip's team over at Egg and Bird, not because he won't give it, it's just because they've done it before, and it's really easy at that point. And that's how some of these brands grow, and they grow big. So, Phillip, was that all correct, or did I say anything that might be a little off right there?
Yeah, perfect. You're so right that we're working with experienced franchisees, so they know what they're doing, their part, and we are also expert in our part. We have done this, 3-4 times already. So been there, done that, and we know all the challenges, what we have to watch, all that. So we will execute it right, and also at the same time, we're expecting our franchisees. They have to know what they're doing, and not just relying on franchisor. They have to have a business mind. So we can teach all these tactics, know-how, but we cannot teach them in entrepreneurship, that running business system. So that's what my expectation. They should have it. If they don't, we cannot support them, because we want to grow together.
And the best way to do that is targeting the avatar as somebody that has entrepreneurial experience. They've done it before. They may have only done it with 1 or 2 locations and something else, but now they know how to do it, and they're ready to do it with multiple locations. And that would probably be a good avatar, or somebody that owns a different brand, and they're ready to get into the chicken business, because the chicken business is a really hot business right now. I know I know some people that are in that business. I know one person that I may be investing into his. He may or may not turn it into a franchise, but he has a QSR restaurant experience, and they are an operational team, and they open up locations. And so I'm likely to be an investor in that, because I love the chicken business. So I love Egg and Bird, like the business model that you're going into. Can you give us a little insight? Because there's a lot of people out here that are used to slow ramp up franchises. And I don't know that slow ramp up is typical for QSRs. In other words, you start out in a gym, you're doing pre-sales to be able to hopefully have a decent amount of revenue on day number 1. In food, whether it's Yogurtland, Everbowl, Chick-fil-A, not a real franchise, but kind of that franchise model, or Egg and Bird. What happens typically with revenue on day number 1? I'm guessing it's pretty strong. I'm not looking for actual numbers or whatnot, but just compare that to a slow ramp up to food. You open up your doors, and the goal is to have a lot of customers coming in right away. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah. Our first store, we had such a short time. We had a amazing response, which is the product quality. The restaurant, it's really about the food taste is so important. Our customer, they can forgive price, but they will not forgive food quality. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it is. So we have to remember that food quality has to be there, and also same time we're providing value. But also same time, most brand, when they grow, all your time, there's a challenge that because customer, they don't know that brand. So there is a not immediate ramp up of that revenue, the sales not there. So we have to really understand, where we are And so there will be not such a big surprise that maybe all your time sales challenges could happen. But like our first store, we have proved that maybe first few months, and our customer, they don't know what it is because they never heard of this brand before. But once and maybe 3-4 months after, really customer, they understood what it is, and the sales keep growing every day. It's an amazing number. So which means we are very strong in core. So which is product quality and value. Those two, if we nail it, that's it. So we have a strong core power. So now it's just adding heavy building the brand. That always takes time. It's not going to happen just within a few months or a few years. It's a long journey. So we are building it, but that time will be soon enough.
Well, you said it earlier. You said, I'm not a sales guy, and you just showed everyone that you're not a sales guy. You didn't say we opened up and customers were pounding down the doors trying to give us all kinds of money, that it grew really strong. And I think that's what people appreciate about you. And I think that's important for any buddy looking at franchises. You want a franchisor that you can trust. You want a partner that you can trust, and that is, with whatever it is. But what they say, you want to be able to take that to the bank versus find out, like, boy, this wasn't quite true, or that wasn't quite true. So I appreciate that about you. I have one final question for you as we come to an end. Your why, your core, it's who you are, love, joy, and hope. What was the biggest point where that came and was challenged in the face of money or opportunity or greed, when you had to make a decision based on your core or your why versus something that most people would say, I'll let this slide this time for this opportunity or for this thing?
Right. In our life, the what you believe in, what the most, what you trust, it will decide your direction and your future, who you are, everything, and including even business and all the relationship, everything. And from what I believe in, this is from my faith background, which is I'm Christian. So I believe in what's in the gospel, that what I have to do, and according to what, and that's the biggest why I put that first, what I want to achieve in my life. So of course it's way more than just surviving and make a good money and just simply happy with what I have. We have a much higher goal to achieve, and that starts from not you wait until, okay, I'll do it when I reach somewhere. No, you're doing it from the day one, what you believe, with whatever you have, whatever environment, you have to do it. You have to live it out, and that's what I believe in. So this my practice has been from day one when I arrived in America, and that's how I lived. Even wherever I worked, I'll do my best, and it's not just only for me; it's for the best of others too. And we put that together, and with that practice, when you have a bigger business and maybe better, bigger profit and more people around, you still can execute that. So, for instance, if you cannot donate $10 when you make $1,000, you will never ever be able to donate maybe 1,000 when you make $100,000. The same thing. When you make million, can you still increase that percentage? If you don't practice from the beginning all year what you believe in, you will never be able to practice that. So that's my philosophy, and that's what I practice until now. So and I didn't negotiate those principles all this time. And there's lots of good story that I have that I did not give up my belief because of that. Big money coming in, big opportunity coming in, and it will always think about it, what is right, and always do the right thing is so important.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I've heard it said by a mutual friend of ours, Bob Frazier. He told me a long time ago, money is just a multiplier of what's in your heart. And I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in so many people's lives around me. The more money they make, either the more Scroogey they become, or the more generous on the outside that they become. And what's interesting, the most people that are the most generous do it in secret, and I love that. But money is a magnifier of what's already in your heart. Phillip, best of luck with Egg and Bird. I love what you're doing with Yogurtland and the new brand, or the new extension, Wholesome. How can people reach out to you if they're interested in connecting?
Right. For Yogurtland, of course, we are do franchising right now. So there's a website, a marketing team always ready. There's email for all our staff there. So
Yogurtland.com. Go to yogurtland.com.
Yogurt-land.com.
Good. I'm glad we corrected that. We'll make sure that that's in the show notes. Yogurt-land.com.
Right. And then Egg and Bird, we are not franchising yet. We're still building the model. Amazing. So it's coming soon. And we'll release the information as soon as it is available.
So, Phillip, with Egg and Bird on your website, do you have join the wait list thing on there? That way people will say, I'm interested, and then you will get their contact information. So when you can franchise, you can reach out to them. Do you have that on that website yet?
We don't have that prepared yet, but yeah, we'll put that in.
Yeah, just say join the wait list, and then you can, you'll start getting some people, and people love. People love to join lists like that, and so you'll build a good database. I think that's good for any franchise brand out there. Before you act, this is what we did with Mighty Dog Roofing. I put up on my website at Mighty Dog, join the wait list, because we're not ready. The FDD is not ready. We don't have anything to offer you yet, but as soon as we do, we will reach out to you. Do you want to be one of the first to know? Join the wait list. So coming soon, a wait list on Egg and Bird. So just Google it. And Phillip, thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Franchise Secrets Podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to whatever channel you're listening on. If you want my help with anything from buying a franchise to franchising your business, please visit franchisesecrets.com.